Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Mohegan Sun Arena in Wilkes Barre, Pennsylvania, and the show just ended, and what a piece of shit this show was tonight. This show was absolutely fucking terrible. This didn't even feel like Triple H booked this show tonight. This felt like we were back in the old administration with Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard running things. This Monday Night Raw felt like a Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard booked show. Just absolutely terrible this show was. I mean, what do we get on the show tonight? We had a six-man tag, the Bloodline, Sikoa, and the Usos. And they ended up taking on Matt Riddle and the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Baron Corbin was in action. The so-called wrestling god, more like the so-called wrestling boar, and he ended up taking on Cedric Alexandra. We also saw Elias in action, and he ended up taking on Otis. Yeah, like that's such a banger of a match. Austin Theory ended up taking on Shelton Benjamin. I mean, what is this? Am I watching main event? We had The Miz versus Johnny Gargano. And can you believe this? The return of the shitty 24/7 title appeared on Monday Night Raw tonight. Can you all believe that? If that doesn't say that Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard were booking this show, even though Vince is retired and is done with WWE, if the 24/7 being featured on tonight's show doesn't prove that Bruce Pritchard booked this show, I don't know what else I could say. I can't believe it. So Dana Brooke defended the 24/7 championship because she is still the 24/7 champion. She ended up taking on Nikki Cross. But did Dana Brooke retain? We'll find out. And then in the main event, we had Seth Rollins issue an open challenge for the United States Championship. Just like John Cena did when he was United States Champion, and how he had that open challenge every single week, which gave the United States Championship prestige. So we had an open challenge tonight, which, as it progressed, it did not make any fucking sense whatsoever. It was a fucking clusterfuck of proportions, which I'll get to explaining. But this was Monday Night Raw tonight. Terrible, awful show. And the crowd there in Wilkes Barre did not even make any noise tonight. Throughout the whole night, it looked like they were in a coma. From the crowd there and to the whole show being booked like this, it was just a snooze fest of a show. But anyways, let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw opened up tonight with the Bloodline. So the Usos and Sikoa end up making their way out. No Roman Reigns, no Paul Heyman, no Sami Zayn. So it was just the Usos and Sikoa. So they made their way out. And the Usos are going to take on the New Day this Friday on SmackDown, where the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship will be on the line. And if the Usos win on Friday, which they will hold the record for the longest reigning Tag Team Champions of all time. So the Usos will be holding that record come Friday after they win. So we had Jimmy Uso end up getting on the mic. He ended up saying they're in their city tonight. And a Sammy chant end up picking up. So Jimmy Uso ended up saying a few nights ago, they smashed the Brawling Brutes and Logan Paul. So they're talking about being the ones and how they're going to beat up the New Day on Friday. So both Jimmy and Jay end up saying about that. And then Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods end up coming out. New Day made their way out. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston end up saying that they are the record holders and that the Usos are chasing them. They end up saying that they're chasing the guys who changed what tag team wrestling looks like today. They end up saying that they are first generation superstars. And the Usos had people coddling them and holding their hands. They want to say that they got tryouts based on what their families did before them. And they built their legacy off the backs of their fathers, uncles, and cousins. And they end up saying that New Day built their reputation off their own backs. So Jimmy Uso ended up saying that they don't know the pressure they have on them. And that they have a ton of pressure on the New Day. And they succeeded. So Xavier Woods ended up warning the Usos not to talk to them about pressure. And that pressure is sitting in catering, not knowing if you'll be fired, making a YouTube channel outside of this company to make him get noticed at work. Their pressure made them into diamonds. So Jey Uso ended up asking about the diamonds. They smashed out of King Woods' crown. You know, when Xavier Woods was known as King Woods when he won the King of the Ring. So Jey Uso ended up saying to Kofi that he should stay at home with his kids. So Kofi ended up saying that this reign represents a time when they were saddled with the gimmick of being positivity preachers. He ended up saying that no one should have overcome that, but they did. And that it represents a time they came to work scratching and clawing to get ahead, only to be told they suck. So Kingston ended up saying that this record represents a time when the New Day was whole, and they will not forfeit this record to the Usos. And then we had Matt Riddle end up coming out. Matt Riddle came out. He apologized to the Usos and New Day for interrupting. Matt Riddle, of course, still having his bongos with him. So they're turning Matt Riddle into a comedy act here. So Riddle ended up saying that him and Elias are forming a band. So the Usos end up telling Riddle to shut up. So Riddle ended up saying that when he's stressed, he likes to hit the bong. Yeah, we all know that Matt Riddle probably does smoke from his bong. We all know that. So the New Day, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston end up hitting Riddle's bongos. Riddle ended up asking if the Usos and Sikoa want to hit it. So Jimmy Uso obliges, and Riddle ended up reminding him to tap, tap, pass. He then wants to say that Jey Uso isn't feeling so oozy. So Jay ended up slapping Riddle away. Riddle ended up saying that no one does that to him. So Riddle was like, oh, why don't we have a good old-fashioned six-man tag? And that was basically that, but I seen this coming. When I saw Matt Riddle come out, I'm like, oh, we're going to get a six-man tag with the Bloodline and Matt Riddle and the New Day. Obviously, knew it was coming. But this was a pretty good opening to Monday Night Raw here. But the crowd did not even pop during this segment. They didn't even care what was going on there. Like I said, this crowd throughout the night was in a coma. So then we had the 6-man tag. This was the first match. The Usos and Sikoa versus the New Day and Matt Riddle. This was a decent match. So Jimmy Uso and Matt Riddle started off the match. Jimmy ended up kicking Riddle down, started chopping him in the corner. Jimmy whipped Matt Riddle across the ring, but Matt Riddle ended up slingshotting Jimmy over him and kicked him in the chest. Riddle then ended up lifting Jimmy, and he ended up delivering a gut-wrench suplex to Jimmy. Riddle then tagged in Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods started stomping away at Jimmy. And then we had Xavier Woods end up whipping Kingston into Jimmy Uso with a drop kick. And then we had Xavier Woods go for the cover. Jimmy ended up kicking out at 2. Jey Uso ended up tagging in, and he started delivering some forearms to Kofi. Jey ended up taking Kingston down. Kingston ended up hitting a back elbow, which he ended up going for the cover, and Jey ended up kicking out. Xavier Woods ended up tagging in, and he came off the top rope with a double axe handle to Jey's arm. Xavier Woods ended up stretching Jey out and pinned him. Jey kicked out at 2. Riddle ended up tagging in. Riddle went and attacked Jey's arm, which was injured. He ended up blocking a kick from Jey, and Jey ended up hitting a step-up enziguri to Riddle. Riddle ended up catching Jey with a head scissor takeover over the top rope. Riddle then ended up going for the springboard floating bro to Jey on the floor, but Sikoa ended up blindsiding Riddle. As Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, the Usos were in control of the match. The Usos ended up hitting a double-team spinebuster on Matt Riddle. And Jimmy was the legal man in the match, so Jimmy ended up going for the cover, to which Riddle kicked out. Jimmy started punching Riddle down in the corner. He ended up hitting a running hip attack, which he went for a cover, and Riddle ended up kicking out. Sikoa tagged in. Sikoa and Jimmy ended up hitting a split on Riddle. Sikoa ended up attacking Riddle, and he started wrenching Riddle's arm. Jey tagged in, and he delivered a super kick to Riddle in his midsection. Riddle fought back, ended up hitting Jey with the Fisherman's Buster. Sikoa ended up tagging in, and he grabbed Riddle before he could make the tag. Riddle ended up kneeing Sikoa in the face, and he tagged in Xavier Woods. So we had both Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. They were making quick tags. They were hitting Sikoa with some strikes to take him down. So Woods ended up tagging in. Woods ended up covering Sikoa. Sikoa ended up kicking out. So Kofi Kingston ended up tagging in. Sikoa ended up lifting Xavier Woods. Woods ended up getting out of that. So Kofi Kingston ended up hitting a diving crossbody block to Sikoa. He went for the cover. Sikoa ended up kicking out. Kofi Kingston ended up kicking Sikoa in the chest, and he ended up hitting the boom drop onto Sikoa. Kofi ended up kicking Jey off the apron, and then he walked into a belly-to-belly suplex from Sikoa. Sikoa then ended up knocking Kofi Kingston off the apron into the commentary table. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Sikoa was in control of the match. He ended up having Kofi Kingston in a chin lock. Of course, WWE likes to slow down their matches when someone holds their competitor in a chin lock. So Kofi Kingston ended up firing up. He ended up elbowing Sikoa, and he tried to do a sunset flip. Sikoa didn't go down, and we had Sikoa end up hitting a leg drop on Kofi. He ended up going for the cover. Kofi kicked out too. So at the end of the match, we had Riddle hitting Jimmy with the RKO, and the crowd ended up popping. Finally, they made noise here. But Sikoa ended up turning Riddle around, and he hit the spin solo. Sikoa had, blind tagged in before Matt Riddle hit the RKO on Jimmy. So Sikoa was the legal man. So Solo ended up going for the cover. And there you go. The Usos and Sikoa ended up winning the match. Overall, this was a decent match here. Really enjoyed it. But we all know that the Usos are not going to win the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship Friday. And the Usos are going to be the longest reigning. They will hold the record for the longest reigning Tag Team Champions of all time come Friday. It's going to happen. And then we had Mago, JBL. Oh, it's Monday Night Mago. So JBL ended up making his way out. JBL was in the ring, and he talked about all the great arenas that he has sold out. He kept saying that this is not one of them. JBL was like, what kind of idiot booked him in this place? JBL ended up telling the Wilkes Barre crowd to get on their Philadelphia Phillies losing to the Houston Astros and put their snowflake hands together for the wrestling god, more like the wrestling boar, Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin, coming out every week now, it just makes the show worse. Wish Triple H would bring back the Lone Wolf Baron Corbin. The Lone Wolf was the best version of Baron Corbin. And everything after his Lone Wolf gimmick has been terrible. Yeah, I hope someday they bring Baron Corbin back to his Lone Wolf gimmick. So Baron Corbin came out and he had taken on Cedric Alexander. JBL was on commentary during the match. Did not even care for this match. Did not care one bit. Obviously, Baron Corbin was going to win it. So Baron Corbin ended up delivering the end of days to Cedric Alexander. And he went for the cover. And that was that. You could tell how much I cared about this match. No notes I took here. Because I knew it was going to be a squash. This is not doing nothing for Baron Corbin. JBL being there is not helping Baron Corbin one bit. And they still have the balls to say, oh, Baron Corbin is a wrestling god. Unbelievable. And then we had Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, United States champion, made his way down to the ring. He got on the mic. He welcomed everyone to Monday Night Rollins. So Rollins ended up waiting for the people to sing his song, and the crowd didn't respond because they were quiet. They were still in a coma. So Rollins ended up saying that he could listen to them serenade him with their beautiful voices. But it's time for the United States Championship Open Challenge. And when Rollins ended up saying that, oh, he could listen to the crowd serenade him with their beautiful voices, still, the crowd was yeah. So then the Judgment Day made their way out. Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio. The Judgment Day made their way down to the ring, and they surround the ring. Balor got inside. He circled the ring around Rollins. Balor got on the mic. He ended up saying that he has a bone to pick with Rollins. He ended up saying that a few years ago, Rollins cost him gold. So tonight, he'll cost Rollins gold. So he ended up saying that as far as his open challenge for the United States Championship goes, and then he got interrupted by the OC. So the OC, Styles, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows ended up coming out. So we had Rollins was standing between both the OC and the Judgment Day. Rollins sneaked off and ran away. So Styles got on the mic. He kept saying this between the OC and the Judgment Day is far from over. To which Balor ended up saying that the only thing in this ring that's over is the Judgment Day. He kept saying that the club and the OC are old news. So Styles was like, that's the problem. It's always been the three of them against the four of the Judgment Day. He kept saying that at Crown Jewel, it was no different. And that they tried to find someone to take care of the Rhea problem, the Rhea Ripley problem. But they couldn't find them. So Styles was like, oh, we found someone instead. So all of a sudden, Rhea Ripley was shown being shoved into the ring post. And it was a woman with a hood on and blue hair. And it was revealed to be Mia Yim. Yes, Mia Yim is back in WWE. And a brawl broke out in the ring with the OC and the Judgment Day. Mia Yim ended up grabbing a kendo stick. And she ended up beating Rhea Ripley with the kendo stick. And she ended up sending Rhea Ripley into the timekeepers area. We saw Luke Gallows and Damian Priest end up going over the commentary table. Dominic and Carl Anderson end up brawling out of the ring. Styles and Balor brawled in the middle of the ring. Balor quickly escaped out of the ring. Carl Anderson ended up bouncing Balor off the ring apron. Dominic ended up going for a dive on Styles, but Styles caught Dominic, and he countered into a Styles clash, so Styles ended up hitting the Styles clash on Dominic. So we had Balor pulling Dominic out of the ring. So then we saw the OC standing in the ring, standing tall with the newest member of the OC, Mia Yim. So Mia Yim is the one who's going to take care of the Rhea Ripley problem. But it's cool to see Mia Yim back, but I thought that she would sign with AEW because, of course, her husband, Keith Lee, is there. I thought she would go to AEW, but she is back in WWE. Triple H ended up bringing her back. So, cool on that. But overall, this was okay, in my opinion. Good to see Mia Yim back, but even Mia Yim couldn't save this show. Couldn't have saved tonight's show. And then we saw Kathy Kelly. Kathy Kelly was backstage with Seth Rollins. Rollins ended up saying to Kathy Kelly that it was too tense out there, so he had to get out of the ring and get gone. Rollins ended up saying, however, I made a promise to the people, and we will have the United States Championship Open Challenge later on. So that was what Rollins had to say. And then we had Otis versus Elias. This was snooze fest. Yeah, this was some banger of a match, right? Match was just a squash match. Otis ended up winning. Otis delivered a World's Strongest Slam on Elias, went for the cover, There you go. Otis ended up winning the match. Who cares? This was a squash match. Then we saw Byron Saxton. Byron Saxton was backstage with the Judgment Day. Byron Saxton ended up saying that it appears that the OC have found a solution to their problem. Finn Balor ended up saying to Byron Saxton that all the OC has done is make more problems for themselves. So Rhea Ripley ended up saying that they can bring it on because she can't be solved. So then Rhea Ripley ended up walking by Bianca Belair, the Raw Women's Champion. To which Rhea Ripley ended up saying, "Champ." And then she walked off. And basically that was that. So it looks like we're going to be getting the Judgment Day versus the OC, and then also seeing Rhea Ripley and Mia Yim go at it. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Bianca Belair made her way out. She was accompanied by Alexa Bliss and Asuka, to which Alexa Bliss and Asuka lost the Women's Tag Team Championships at Crown Jewel because they put the titles back on Dakota Kai and Io Sky. So what was the point of taking the titles off of Io and Dakota, putting them on Alexa Bliss and Asuka, only for them to lose them at Crown Jewel? Only for the titles to go back to Dakota and Io. So what was the point? So they showed footage of earlier today where we had Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, and Asuka. They were arguing with Damage Control in the parking lot. And then cut back to the ring. Bianca Belair got on the mic. She ended up saying that Crown Jewel didn't go totally according to plan for them, but they have something to say to Damage Control. So Damage Control ended up coming out. Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky. Dakota Kai got on the mic, to which Dakota is very good on the mic. She delivered this promo here. Awesome. Dakota Kai ended up saying that Bianca has never truly beaten Bayley. As for her and Io Sky, they're holding the Women's Tag Team Championship again after they beat Alexa Bliss and Asuka. So Alexa Bliss ended up saying that if it weren't for Nikki Cross, they'd still be the Women's Tag Team Champions. So Asuka and Io Sky end up getting to a exchange in Japanese. You know, that was all between Asuka and Io. To which Io ended up calling Asuka bitch. Yeah, that was what Io Sky said. Io Sky called Asuka a bitch. And then we had a brawl break out. So Bianca ended up saying that they've been doing this for too long and will settle it at War Games. Nikki Cross ended up attacking Bianca from behind. Damage Control ended up coming in, so we had a brawl break out. Bayley ended up accepting the War Games challenge. So there you go. There's your build towards War Games at Survivor Series. There you go. Looks like maybe Nikki Cross might be in the War Games match with Damage Control. Who knows? But this was just very meh, this segment. Aside from Dakota Kai being good on the mic. Then we had Austin Theory versus Shelton Benjamin. Another match that's a squash match. Austin Theory came out Still missed the Money in the Bank. So, before the match, we saw Austin Theory and Shelton Benjamin. Earlier today, they got into a verbal altercation, to which Austin Theory ended up saying that Shelton Benjamin was irrelevant. So, that's pretty much what we saw. And then the match got underway. Shelton Benjamin ended up quickly going at Theory. Theory fought back, ended up hitting a Rolling Thunder dropkick to Shelton Benjamin. Theory continued to attack Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin ended up taking Theory down, ended up going for the ankle lock, to which Theory fought out of it. Shelton Benjamin ended up coming back and delivered a German suplex to Austin Theory, to which he went for the cover. Theory kicked out at 2. So we had Austin Theory in the end of the match. He ended up pinning the A-Town down on Shelton Benjamin. He ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Austin Theory ended up winning the match. So Austin Theory gets a win here, which, was against Shelton Benjamin. It was a squash match. And then we had The Miz end up coming out. The Miz made his way down to the ring. Miz started complaining that everyone is believing Johnny Gargano's version of events regarding Dexter Lumis, to the point that even Miz's father believes him. So Miz ended up saying that he will soon come out with his version of the events, but it will take time to create the buzz for this Oscar-worthy video. Awful. I mean, why are we still in this storyline with, why is Dexter Lumis going after The Miz? What is this, like 2-3 months already that they're doing this storyline? So Johnny Gargano ended up coming out. Johnny Gargano got on the mic. He ended up saying that he has to blow the whistle on himself, to which he was wearing a whistle around his neck. Might as well call him Coach Gargano. So Gargano ended up saying that he needed more for his story with The Miz, since he wouldn't pay Dexter Lumis. So we had Johnny Gargano end up hiring a private investigator, to which Miz thought it was a producer. And The Miz had dinner with this producer. So Gargano ended up coming out with a universal remote. He was like, oh, I have the universal remote in hand. So let's go to the footage. So footage was shown of Miz, and it turns out that Miz admitted to paying Dexter Lumis to increase his celebrity status. So it turns out The Miz was the one who paid Dexter Lumis to increase his celebrity status. So he ended up saying that once he stopped paying Lumis, Miz ended up saying once he stopped paying Lumis, because corporate got involved, as did the police, it got too hot. He ended up saying that if a project gets too hot, no one gets paid. And that Dexter Lumis should thank him for all the notoriety. So Gargano ended up looking pleased with himself, and The Miz was just shocked at that. So pretty much that was basically that. So Miz was the one paying for Dexter Lumis to attack him. So that sounds very interesting, right? And then we had The Miz versus Johnny Gargano, which this match was just very, in my opinion. It went on for too long. It felt like it went on for like 25 minutes. So we had Gargano start off the match. He ended up taking it to The Miz. Gargano ended up kicking The Miz in the face, knocked him out of the ring. Miz ended up dropping Gargano onto the barricade to get his momentum back. Then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Gargano ended up avoiding a corner clothesline from the Miz. Gargano ended up hitting Miz with the backstabber. And then he ended up hitting Miz with a running crossbody block, to which Gargano followed up with a clothesline. So Gargano ended up connecting with the double knees in the corner to the Miz. He ended up doing a diving STO on the Miz, to which he went for the cover. Miz ended up kicking out. Miz ended up punching Gargano back, ended up hitting the ropes. Gargano then ended up hitting a slingshot spear, and he ended up going for the cover, to which Miz ended up kicking out. Miz then avoided a kick from Gargano, ended up hitting a kneel and DDT on Gargano, to which he went for the cover. Gargano kicked out at 2. So we had Gargano end up getting Miz out of the ring. He ended up hitting a suicide dive, which knocked the Miz into the commentary table. So Gargano was walking around on the outside. Miz shoved Gargano into the commentary table. Gargano then drop kicked the Miz out of the ring. And then Miz was pulled under the ring. Miz then emerged from under the ring. We all thought, oh, maybe Dexter Lumis was hiding under the ring. And he grabbed the Miz. But Miz emerged from under the ring, and he was holding a turnbuckle bracket. So the referee was checking under the ring. So this was just a distraction for the Miz to hit Gargano with the turnbuckle bracket. To which the Miz did. The Miz ended up hitting Gargano with the turnbuckle bracket. So Miz ended up going for the cover. And there you go. The Miz ended up winning the match. So the Miz just did that as a cheap shot to Gargano just so he could get an easy win on him. Post-match, we saw Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis sneaked up from behind the Miz, and he ended up hitting Miz with a chair to his back. And then security ended up chasing Dexter Lumis off. Dexter Lumis, he could run hella fast. We saw that tonight. Just as he was being chased off by the security. So pretty much that was that. But overall, this match was just very meh, in my opinion. It just felt long. It dragged. And felt like it went on for like 24, 25 minutes. That's how it felt. And then we saw Damage Control. Damage Control was talking to Nikki Cross backstage. Dakota Kai ended up saying that Nikki Cross is just like them. And they want her in War Games by their side. So Nikki Cross was like, oh, I don't need to wait until War Games. I could beat Dana Brooke up. So pretty much that was basically that. And then we had Nikki Cross versus Dana Brooke. 24/7 championship on the line. Why? You could tell that Bruce Pritchard booked this show if you see the 24/7 title on the show. This did not need to be on the show. So Nikki Cross ended up going at it with Dana Brooke. Bayley was on commentary for the match. And just Nikki Cross ended up pinning a neck break on Dana Brooke. She ended up going for the cover. There you go. Nikki Cross ended up winning the match. And she's the new 24/7 champion. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we saw Damage Control backstage. Nikki Cross was there holding the 24/7 title. And she was just staring. She was just like, and then she threw the 24/7 title in the garbage, which she ended up missing because the title didn't go fully in the garbage. So she ended up just tossing it. And that appears to be the end of the 24/7 Championship. Thank you. Thank you. Good riddance to that awful fucking title. You know, if Nikki Cross got into the garbage, you know what I would have done? I would have took a piss on it and lit a match, threw it in the trash with the 24/7 title on it. That whole garbage can would have been on fire with the title in there. And I would have put it out and then just threw it in a dumpster. The ashes. Good riddance to the 24/7 title. 6 years it's been on the main roster, and it did not even have a good run. It had a fucking shitty run with awful comedy done by Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard in the old administration. Basically, if you look back on the 24/7 title, it was basically R-Truth's title. R-Truth ended up holding it the longest out of anybody else. So good riddance. Nobody will miss you. 24/7 title. Thank God it is retired. And we could all celebrate. So then we saw Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins ended up making his way out. He got on the mic and he ended up saying that he made everyone a promise. And he will have the Open Challenge, the United States Championship Open Challenge. He went on to say that this month marks 10 years of him in WWE. He ended up saying that they've been with him through it all the highs and lows, the ups and downs, the wins and losses, and all the championships. So we had the crowd end up chanting, "Thank you, Rollins." God, I can't believe it's been 10 years since he's with the company. So Rollins ended up saying that this title means a lot to him. The United States Championship means a lot to him. He ended up saying that before he beat Bobby Lashley for the title a few weeks back, it had been far too long since he held gold in the company. He ended up saying that in just a few short weeks, he has made the United States Championship to have on Monday Night Raw. He ended up saying now it's time for the Open Challenge. So then Mustafa Ali ended up appearing on the screen. And all of a sudden, he's pulled off the screen. And it sounded like he was getting beaten up. So then we saw Bobby Lashley appeared on the screen. Bobby Lashley was irate. And Bobby Lashley ended up saying that there are two reasons why he doesn't have the United States Championship. One is Brock Lesnar, which he made Lesnar pay at Crown Jewel. And the second is Seth Rollins. So Mustafa Ali ended up attacking Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley just ended up beating him down, threw him over a crate. And so Lashley ended up accepting the Open Challenge. So I'm like, with Bobby Lashley being down on Mustafa Ali, I'm like, is Bobby Lashley, are they making Bobby Lashley now a tweener here? You know, we don't know if he's a babyface or a heel. So as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Bobby Lashley ended up making his way out. He went right after Seth Rollins and knocked him out of the ring. And the match didn't even get underway. So I'm like, what are we doing here? Bobby Lashley answered the Open Challenge. So Lashley started beating Rollins down around ringside. He ended up driving Rollins into the barricade. Lashley started beating down on Rollins' spine. He ended up putting Rollins into the ring. Lashley ended up sizing Rollins up for a spear through the barricade because Rollins quickly got back out of the ring. But Rollins ended up super kicking Bobby Lashley. Rollins quickly ended up sending Lashley into the ring steps. And he tried to go for the pedigree to Lashley on the floor. But Lashley ended up reversing out of that. he ended up pinning a back body drop on Rollins on the floor. Lashley started grounding and pounding on Rollins. Officials ended up running down to break Lashley off of Rollins. So Bobby Lashley was out of control here. Lashley then ended up driving Rollins headfirst into the ring post. And then Bobby Lashley slammed Rollins through the commentary table with the spine buster. And so Lashley ended up walking to the back. So I'm like, why answer the open challenge when you just go out there and just knock Rollins out of the ring? And you're just beating Rollins down. And the match didn't even start. So this was a waste for Bobby Lashley. But lo and behold, Austin Theory ended up coming out. Austin Theory carried out the Money in the Bank briefcase as he walked out to the stage. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Austin Theory ended up saying that he's cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase. So Theory cashed in the briefcase to get the United States Championship. So then we had the match, Seth Rollins versus Austin Theory for the United States Championship. You know, like I said, Theory cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase. So Theory ended up hitting Rollins with a forearm to the face. He ended up going for the cover, and Rollins ended up kicking out. Theory followed up with a Fisherman's Buster on his knee to Rollins for another near fall. Rollins ended up fighting back. He ended up going for the pedigree. Theory ended up countering, and he ended up hitting a pedigree to Rollins. He ended up going for the cover, and Rollins ended up kicking out. Theory was just in shock, you know, just trying to cover Rollins. So Rollins ended up quickly sending Theory shoulder first into the ring post, and he ended up sending Theory out of the ring. Rollins ended up countering a Rolling Thunder dropkick into a powerbomb, and he super kicked Theory, delivered some forearms to the back of Theory's head. Rollins ended up going for the stomp, but Theory countered that into the A-Town down. Theory ended up going for the cover, and Bobby Lashley pulled the referee out of the ring. Theory ended up shouting at Bobby Lashley. He ended up calling Lashley an idiot. So that pissed off Lashley, to which Lashley pulled Theory out of the ring, and Lashley just went all crazy on Austin Theory. He ended up viciously attacking Theory. Lashley ended up driving Theory headfirst into the ring post. So Lashley ended up putting Theory to sleep with the Hurt Lock. Lashley then ended up leaving the ringside area, and the referee ended up rolling to the ring, and he started to count. Theory ended up getting to the ring at 9, and then Rollins then hit the stomp on Theory. He ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Seth Rollins won the match, retaining the United States Championship. So pretty much that was basically how Monday Night Raw went off the air. But Austin Theory cashed in the briefcase, and he didn't get it done. He didn't win the United States Championship. So a failed cash-in for Austin Theory. Overall, Monday Night Raw, this show was absolutely terrible. Show was awful. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all Wednesday night for AEW Dynamite. So till then, see you all later.